Okay, folks, I'm all over the place in this one as usual. When I was single, I equated marriage with drowning. Your identity disappeared, your privacy was invaded, you're self submerged. After I married, I found out that I was right. What I hadn't known was how much of an amphibian I could be. That's from Lynn Darling. My all time favorite, personal favorite line I ever heard from a coworker, good old Bobby Gaudioso, was when my wife, Mary, and I were waited to be seated at Tony and Lucille's on Worcester Street, New Haven. He walked in and noticed us, and I introduced Mary to him, and he replied, "It's very nice meeting you, Mary, and I'll pray for you every night." That was classic. We must look again at the power of alcohol to stimulate the mystical faculties. It's, it brings its votary from the chill periphery of things to the radiant core, and this is from William James. Truth is akin to an army of metaphors on the march. Friedrich Nietzsche. You have to think about that one. Whatever happened to objectivity in US politics? The Republicans are like the parrot. They live in a birdhouse who all follow the same propositions and platforms. All they do now is regurgitate the same script with absolutely no variation on the theme. If one states something, they all fall in line. This is no way of governing. It's all bilge water, and this was my quote. My father used to tell us to get a job. I was 6 years old at the time, and my brother was 9. And this one's mine too. Malevolence tempered by incompetence. Benjamin Witt's description of Trump's infamous executive order on refugees. An eye for an eye only ends up making the whole world blind, and that's from Mahatma Gandhi. Liquid modernity, a term coined by Zygmunt Bauman, is defined as a condition in which change is so rapid that social institutions no longer have time to solidify or serve as a frame of reference. Individuals therefore need to spice together an unending series of short-term projects and episodes that don't necessarily add up, leading to the conditions of endemic uncertainty. All right, I'm going to do some Mae West quotes. As I watched the first major documentary film to explore Mae West's life and career as she climbed the ladder of success, wrong by wrong, as she claimed, to become a writer, performer, and subversive agitator for social change. And one person claimed she lived like a man during these troubled times, as she was born in 1893 in Brooklyn and died in 1980 in Los Angeles. And she never stopped pushing the envelope. She was daring, tough, very determined, and she earned all of her fame. When she wanted something done that was against the norm, she never balked. She was absolutely fearless, and this was during the time that women were supposed to stay home, cook, and raise children, but not her. An extraordinary talent. So here goes on her quotes. It is better to be looked over than overlooked. A hard man is good to find. When women go wrong, men go right after them. When I'm good, I'm very good. But when I'm bad, I'm even better. When caught between two evils, I generally pick the one I've never tried before. Marriage is a great institution, but I'm not ready for an institution. It's not the man in your life that counts, it's the life in your man. Is that a gun in your pocket, or you're just glad to see me? I believe in censorship. After all, I made a fortune out of it. I only like two kinds of men, foreign and domestic. Too much of a good thing is wonderful. Don't marry a man to reform him. That's what reform schools are for. I wrote the story myself. It's all about a girl who lost her reputation but never missed it. It ain't a sin if you crack a few laws now and then, just so long as you don't break any. Good girls go to heaven. Bad girls go everywhere else. I used to be Snow White, but I drifted. 10 men waiting for me at the door. Send one of them home. I'm a little tired tonight. I do all my writing in bed. Everybody knows I do my best work there. I always save one boyfriend for a rainy day and another in case it doesn't rain. Why don't you come up and see me sometimes? I'm home every evening. Come up and I'll tell you your fortune. I freely chose the kind of life I led because I was convinced that a woman has as much right as a man to live the way she does, if she does no actual harm to society. It isn't what I do, but how I do it. It isn't what I say, but how I say it, and how I look when I do it and say it. Men are easy to get, but hard to keep. A man's kiss is his signature. He who hesitates is a damn fool. A dame that knows the ropes isn't likely to get tied up. Virtue has its own reward, but has no sale at the box office. And in closing, Mae West was a very dynamic performer, and she's supposedly one of the first performers to allow Black men and women in her shows and movies. I always enjoyed her movies. She was very unique. We're living through a historical moment when piling on of more work and more productivity has become pointless, absurd, or positively dangerous. When we work tirelessly at failed marriages, demand that academics add value to the human capital that comes within the range of the classroom, reward for more collars as crime rates decline, and produce more atmospheric toxins in the name of energy independence. And this is from Why Work from James Livingston. Interesting quote. The point of this language of intention and personal responsibility is broad exoneration. Mistakes were made, bodies were broken, people were enslaved. We meant well, we tried our best. Good intention is a hall pass through history, a sleeping pill that ensures the dream. That's from Ta-Nehisi Coates. In Italy, for 300 years under the Borgias, they had warfare, terror, murder, and bloodshed, but they produced Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, and the Renaissance. In Switzerland, they had brotherly love for 500 years of democracy and peace. And what did that produce? A cuckoo clock. That's from the movie The Third Man. We went to a new restaurant in town named 1920 Bistro. And when I walked in, I told the maitre d', you know, guys, it's 2024. You're a century behind the times. You got to get with it here. The intellectual is the prophetic witness to the suffering of those who cannot speak for themselves. And that's from Emmanuel Lewis. Where there is no intelligence, there is no stupidity. The Hellstrom Chronicles. Martin Amis labels Republicans as grim ideologues, bozos, and vampires, and calls Republican conventions as clown shows at best. The American Spirit, the cactus that lives without water. That's from Elizabeth Hardwick. And lastly, every moment in life is unique, as is every person. This is mathematically complex and lends itself to quantum theory. But I'm not particularly comfortable with this theory. It is daunting. If it is correct or close to being correct, it certainly creates many challenges. I would be much more comfortable if this wasn't the case. The depth of layered uniqueness is quite taxing. It's no wonder that I'm exhausted all the time. And I'm not sure if I wrote this or someone else did, but I'm out.